Discover the incredible journey of healing, how one heartfelt letter changed our family forever. Sarah stood in the dim light of her living room, the sound of raindrops pattering against the window mirroring the heaviness in her heart. With every box she rummaged through, the weight of grief settled deeper into her soul. She was a single mother in a small Midwestern town, grappling with the loss of her husband, a brave veteran who had fought valiantly overseas but lost his battle with his own demons upon returning home. As she sifted through old keepsakes, a family Bible landed in her lap, and its pages whispered memories of laughter and love. Tucked inside was a well-worn letter that changed everything. With trembling hands, Sarah unfolded the letter, each word alive with her husband's voice. He wrote of dreams they shared, love for their children, and a bright future he envisioned. Tears streamed down her cheeks as she closed her eyes, feeling the warmth of his presence, the hope in his dreams filling the gaps left by his absence. It was more than nostalgia, it was a spark, urging her to rise from the ruins of her shattered life. "Lily. Ben. Come here." She called, her heart racing with a renewed sense of purpose. As they gathered around, Sarah felt their love like a shield against the world's judgmental stares. Being a single mother in this tight-knit town felt nearly impossible, like trying to swim upstream against a relentless current. Whispers about her struggles echoed in grocery aisles, and playgrounds felt like battlegrounds where other mothers clucked and judged. Even on sunny days, the burden of having her mother nearby living just a town over and rarely checking in felt like a storm cloud. Her mother had openly criticized Sarah's choices, and that scrutiny only deepened the chasm between them. But as she clutched the letter, the words ignited a fire within her, pushing her to confront the unresolved tension in her heart. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. As the annual charity event honoring veterans approached, something deep inside nudged Sarah to take a leap of faith. She gathered her courage, determined to share her husband's letter with the audience. The thought of standing before them left her heart racing, but she envisioned her husband's smile, and it gave her strength. That night, as the stage lights cast a warm glow, Sarah took a deep breath. The room fell silent. The first sentence fell from her lips, weaving the essence of her husband's love through the air. She felt the collective breath of the crowd, a mix of shock and admiration. But in the back of the room, she spotted her mother, her expression unreadable, a storm brewing behind her eyes. The moment stretched out like a tightrope, and Sarah's heart ached. Would this heartfelt display bring understanding, or would it deepen the rift that had haunted them both? The silence wrapped around Sarah like a thick blanket as she stood there, her heart pounding against her ribs. Every eye in the room was trained on her, and she could feel the weight of their expectations. It was a strange mix of liberation and fear. She was finally ready to share a piece of her husband with the world, yet the fear of judgment loomed large. I didn't plan on reading this," she started, her voice trembling as she fought to steady it. "But it feels like the perfect time." This letter. She paused, swallowing hard, hoping to gather strength from the very words that had rekindled her spirit. "This letter reminds me of everything we fought for as a family." Her mother's expression shifted slightly, a flicker of concern crossing her face. Sarah seized the moment, driven by a need for connection, not just her own but also with the woman who had given her life. "My husband was a good man. A hero. Yes, he faced challenges when he returned, but don't we all?" The honesty flowed from her heart, raw and real. "He cherished our kids. He dreamed big. And he wanted us to live fully, even in his absence." As she spoke, she noticed a few heads nodding, the audience slowly beginning to resonate with her truth. That gave her courage to keep going, to dig deeper. "He wrote this letter not just for me, but for our family. So we remember how to fight even when the world felt dark. I want to honor that. With each word, she felt a piece of the tension lift. Thoughts of the judgmental whispers faded as layers of fear peeled away. It's hard being a single mother. It's exhausting, and some days, I just want to give up. But then I read his words, and I realize he is still with me, cheering us on. Tears brimmed in her eyes, but she let them fall freely. Somewhere within the crowd, she caught a glimpse of a veteran, tears in his own eyes. His face was a reflection of solidarity, a shared understanding of loss. It struck her unspoken conversations at this very moment, connecting them all in their struggles. I want my children to see strength in vulnerability, she continued, looking down at Lily and Ben, who sat in awe. To know that it's okay to feel sad, but it's also okay to rise and chase our dreams, even if it's one small step at a time. Her confession stirred the room. A hand shot up from the back. It was her mother. "Sarah," she called, her voice cracking. "I limited you. I thought I was protecting you. But I see now, I see him in you. You're braver than I could ever understand." The unexpected admission hung heavy in the air. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Sarah felt a rush of emotion, a mixture of dread and exhilaration. Could this be the moment they both needed? Suddenly, the room erupted in an applause, echoing like a heartbeat, strong and steady. Sarah smiled through her tears, encouraged by the warmth around her. Maybe, just maybe, they could mend what had been broken. But as she stepped down from the stage, her heart still racing, she faced her mother. There was a reckoning in the air, the kind that posed silent questions: would they choose to embrace each other or wallow in the fractures of the past? The moment of truth loomed close, and as she moved toward her, Sarah took a deep breath, wondering if this was the beginning of healing or just another chapter in their struggle. What choice would her mother make? As Sarah approached her mother, her heart raced with a blend of hope and uncertainty. She could see the conflict in her mother's eyes, the weight of unsaid words hanging thick in the air. "Mom," Sarah began softly, but her voice wavered. Would she walk away or step forward? Would they finally face their shared demons? Her mother reached out, hesitating for just a moment, before pulling Sarah into a tight embrace. "I'm so sorry for everything," her mother whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "I wanted to protect you, but I see now how wrong I was." The warmth of her mother's arms wrapped around her, dispelling some of the doubts that had clouded Sarah's heart. Still, the shadows of their past loomed large, and she could feel the weight of old wounds resurfacing. They needed to confront the complexities of their relationship. "Mom, I know life hasn't been easy for either of us," Sarah said, stepping back just enough to look her mother in the eyes. "We've both carried so much pain. I don't want to keep thinking of it like that." Her mother wiped a tear from her cheek, nodding slowly. "You're right. I've been living in fear, fearing that if I let you be free, I'd lose you, too." Sarah's heart ached at her mother's vulnerability. She understood that fear all too well. It's okay to be afraid, but we can't let it run our lives. "My love for you and for Dad that doesn't change just because he is gone." Suddenly, the crowd around them started to swell with murmurs, the energy shifting as people began to witness this raw moment of connection. Sarah felt a wave of courage wash over her. If this was going to be a turning point, then they needed to speak openly. "Let us share our pain," Sarah continued, her voice steady. "Let us talk about Dad's struggles, what they did to us, and how we can learn to find joy again." Her mother's brow furrowed, but Sarah saw a glimmer of resolve in her face. "You're braver than I could ever be, Sarah. I've hidden behind my fears, but you've shown me strength." With that, the two women took a seat together on the edge of the stage, the crowd shifting to give them space. Sarah could see faces filled with empathy and understanding, each person holding their own burdens as they listened. Feeling the moment's power, she turned and spoke to the audience. "If we can face our fears together, maybe we can inspire others to do the same. We all have our battles. But we can heal, we can rebuild. Then Lily and Ben came up to her, tentative but hopeful. They crowded around their mother, arms outstretched, as if sensing the shift in the room. "We're here for you, Mom," Lily said simply, her eyes wide with trust. In that instant, with her children encircling her, Sarah felt the burdens of the past begin to lift. Perhaps this was the start of not just her healing but her family's. If they opened up, if they truly shared their struggles, they could transform their pain into something beautiful. But just then, a loud crash interrupted their moment. A chair toppled over, and the crowd gasped. An elderly man had collapsed at the back of the room. The atmosphere shifted abruptly from healing to alarm, and Sarah's heart sank. Would this moment of connection shatter? Would they have to put their healing journey on hold? Her mother's hand tightened around hers, a wordless question hanging between them. What would they choose to do next? Sarah's heart raced as she and her mother exchanged glances. The sound of concern rippled through the crowd, and the realization hit them both. Their moment, so fragile and full of promise, hung in the balance. "Stay here," her mother said, her voice steady despite the rising tension. She released Sarah's hand, instinctively moving towards the elderly man. Sarah felt a pang of helplessness, but she quickly followed, her legs moving almost on their own. The crowd parted as they approached. The elderly man lay on the floor, surrounded by a few concerned strangers. His face was pale, and his breathing shallow. Sarah felt urgency swell in her chest. "Is he okay? What happened?" One of the onlookers, a young woman with tears in her eyes, shook her head. "He just collapsed, I don't know what to do." Her mother knelt beside the man, placing her hands gently on his shoulder. "Sir, can you hear me? Can you tell us your name?" His eyes fluttered open, confusion clouding his gaze. What happened?" he stammered, voice barely above a whisper. "You're going to be all right," Sarah's mother soothed, creating a small bubble of calm amidst the chaos. "Just breathe. We're here to help." Sarah moved to kneel next to her mother. Her own fear was swelling again, the earlier moment of vulnerability now felt distant. Where had that strength gone? The crowd's murmurs faded into a dull roar as she watched her mother take charge. It was comforting, yet strange. They were supposed to be healing together, not playing the roles of caregiver and patient. Reaching out, she braced the old man's hand in her own. "You're not alone. Just focus on us. We're right here." The man squeezed her hand, a simple connection that sent warmth through her. It was a reminder that even in moments of fear and uncertainty, there was strength in unity. Suddenly, a paramedic arrived, quickly assessing the situation. "What happened?" he asked, taking control of the situation. "He collapsed," her mother explained, her voice surprisingly steady. "He seemed disoriented, but he's conscious now." As the paramedic checked his vitals, Sarah saw the crowd shift from panic to hope, watching intently. Amid this crisis, connections were forming, strangers united in care and concern. Feeling a swell of inspiration, Sarah stood up and faced the audience. "You all know what it's like to feel afraid, uncertain. We can face these moments together. We just did." A wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd, now nodding, supporting her words. Her heart swelled as she turned back to her mother. "This moment doesn't have to define us. We can turn this into something positive, a chance to come together, to show love and care." The paramedic wrapped the elderly man in a blanket, giving him a comforting smile as he prepared to lift him onto the stretcher. "You're going to be just fine," he reassured, and as he spoke, Sarah noticed the man's expression shifting from despair to gratitude. Just then, her mother pulled her close, their eyes meeting with a new understanding. "We've been afraid to confront our pain, but look, it's these shared moments that remind us we're alive. We can rediscover joy." The crowd erupted in muted applause, and Sarah's heart soared as she took in every face. They were all on this journey together, weaving their stories into a tapestry of hope. But as the paramedics wheeled the old man toward the exit, Sarah felt a sense of urgency. "Mom," she said, her voice dropping to a whisper. "What happens when we leave this moment behind?" Her mother's eyes flickered with recognition, a question that rippled between them both. Would they hold on to this newfound resolve, or would fear creep back in, pulling them apart once more? There was so much yet to face. As the crowd began to disperse, a tense silence fell between Sarah and her mother, the air thick with unspoken worries. They clung to one another, both overwhelmed yet buzzing with a transformative energy. In the echoes of relief and hope, something deep within Sarah stirred. "Mom," she hesitated, her voice trembling. "What if we forget? What if the fear comes back and we lose this?" Her mother sighed, gently brushing a loose strand of hair behind Sarah's ear. "It's natural to be scared, sweetie. It's part of living. But I think this moment shows us something important. We're stronger together." A small part of Sarah yearned for reassurance that those words held power beyond this moment. Throughout her life, fear had oftentimes barricaded her way, isolating her when she craved connection. Yet, here in the midst of a community, their shared vulnerability felt like a fragile thread weaving them together. The paramedics finished loading the man into the ambulance, gathering equipment as the crowd began to disperse. Sarah's chest tightened, watching the old man take one last look around, relief washing over his worn features. There was something beautiful in the way they had all come together, absolute strangers bound by instinct. "Hey, can we help?" Sarah's voice rang out, surprising herself with its strength. "Does anyone need anything? A ride, a hug? We're here for each other." Some faces turned. There was a momentary stillness before a young mother with a small child stepped forward. "I think I could use some company waiting for the bus," she admitted, her voice small. "Absolutely. We'll wait with you." Sarah's excitement bubbled over. It felt so right, all of this. The connections, shared experiences, the willingness to lend a hand. As she walked with her mother and the young mother toward the bus stop, a feeling blossomed in Sarah's chest. Together, they formed a small circle of hope. The little girl, no older than 5, smiled brightly, her innocence infectious. Sarah smiled back, her heart swelling with something that felt new. "What's your name?" Sarah asked the child. "Lily," she chirped, reaching for Sarah's hand, her grip small yet determined. "Nice to meet you, Lily," Sarah replied, glancing at her mother, who offered an approving nod. This was how healing happened, through connection, laughter, and shared vulnerability. Minutes passed, and they talked. Lily described her favorite book and how she'd just learned to ride her bike without training wheels. Sarah felt the weight of her doubts lift, moment by moment. But as they stood waiting, a chilling thought gripped Sarah. What if they didn't make it through another day like this? The fear of losing that warmth, of being alone again, gnawed at the back of her mind. "Do you think we can keep this feeling?" she asked her mother quietly, her voice barely a whisper. "What if it fades?" Her mother squeezed her hand, her eyes softening with understanding. "We need to promise each other, Sarah. No matter what happens, we will seek out these moments. Remember the old man, remember Lily. Every connection counts." The bus turned the corner, bringing a rush of wind that mixed with the feeling of uncertainty hanging in the air. Sarah resolved to follow through, but the question remained: could they really commit to healing, to facing their fears head-on? As she climbed aboard, gripping her mother's hand tightly, a shiver of possibility ran through her. Maybe this was just the beginning. The moment felt loaded, a promise lingering unspoken. Something deep inside her knew they were on the verge of a leap, daring to redefine their journey together. "Mom," she said softly, a weight pressing against her heart. "What if we found more moments like this? What would that mean for us?" Her mother smiled, a flicker of determination lighting her eyes. "I believe we'd finally be free to heal." As the bus pulled away, Sarah stared through the window, watching their previous crowd fade into the distance. The unknown stretched ahead, limitless and daunting. She couldn't shake the feeling that something pivotal was approaching. Could they really conquer their fears? Would love and connection lead them to the heart of healing, or was that simply naive wishful thinking? The journey had only just begun. The bus jostled along the road, each bump echoing the rhythm of Sarah's heart. She leaned her forehead against the cool glass, catching glimpses of the world outside, a blur of colors and shapes, vibrant yet fleeting. A small part of her felt like she was watching time slip away, just like the moments they had shared with the crowd, the warmth of connection flickering in and out of view. Beside her, her mother rummaged through her bag, trying to focus on something tangible to ground them. "I think I still have that snack bar," she murmured, pulling it out and breaking it in half. "Want some?" "I'm okay," Sarah replied, her mind racing. I want to hold on to this feeling." Her mother's eyes flickered with concern. "The healing takes time, sweetheart. You're not alone in this. As long as you remember what we felt today, it can become a part of you." "I know," Sarah said softly, but deep down, the fear still lingered. What if the moments faded into just memories, glossed over by the grind of everyday life? The bus came to a stop, and they both glanced up as a few more passengers climbed on. A middle-aged man with tired eyes sank into the seat across from them. He was quiet but observant, catching the soft exchange between Sarah and her mother. There was something in his gaze, a shared understanding that sparked a moment of vulnerability among strangers. "Are you okay?" he asked, his voice gruff but warm, breaking the silence that filled the bus. Sarah shared a glance with her mother, who nodded encouragingly. "We're just figuring things out," Sarah answered, surprised by her own courage. The man offered a small smile. "I know how that goes. Sometimes, the journey feels long and heavy, like you're hauling a pack full of rocks. Can I share a little story?" "Sure," Sarah responded, leaning in, drawn by his sincerity. He took a deep breath. "A couple of years ago, I lost my wife. Cancer. It was a hard road, you know. But after she passed, I realized how much she loved to help people. She wrote letters to everyone who meant something to her friends, family, even her mailman sometimes. She said every letter was like sending a hug through the world. She kept her warmth alive, even after she was gone." As he spoke, Sarah pictured her own journey, a series of letters, moments shared like wisps of tenderness and resilience. She felt a tug in her heart, realizing that love wasn't limited to physical presence. It could echo, resonate, and find a way to linger through small acts of kindness. "Ever since, I've tried to do the same," the man continued, looking directly at her. "I write letters all the time. I send them to my friends, and even strangers when I can. Reminding them that they're not alone and that their light matters." His words radiated through Sarah. The idea of letters, of sharing their experiences with others who also struggled, felt monumental. What could her letter say? What kind of warmth could it ignite? "Thank you for sharing that," Sarah said, her voice shaking slightly with fresh resolve. "You've given me an idea." The man nodded, a knowing smile spreading. As the bus passed through familiar streets, a sense of purpose began to form in Sarah's mind, a promise to connect, to share, to wrap each moment in love like the hugs the man described. It was a different way to face fear, a commitment to invite hope into the narrative of their lives. "We could start a little letter project," Sarah mused aloud, excitement bubbling up once more. "We could write letters to all the people we met today. To the man who needed help, to Lily, to anyone who might need encouragement." Her mother's face lit up. "That's a wonderful idea. We can even ask others to join us." As they spoke, the bus continued its journey, the chatter around them slowly growing. Sarah felt lighter, like rocks were being lifted piece by piece. But as they exited the bus, an unexpected thought crossed her mind. What if they encountered resistance? What if their willingness to reach out met with misunderstanding or rejection? Mom Sarah hesitated, gripping her mother's arm. What if we share these letters, and people just don't get it? Her mother paused, her expression turning thoughtful. Then we keep going. We'll find those who do understand, who need those words just like we do. That's what connection is all about. Sarah nodded slowly, determination creeping in but tinged with uncertainty. The adventure ahead held so much potential, and yet, every possibility came with its own risks. As they stepped onto the sidewalk, their hearts beat as one, both excited and scared about the commitment they were making. Could they really change their world, share their stories, and bring light into others' lives? The question lingered, heavy yet hopeful, as they walked on. What would the next chapter of their journey be? The sun hung low in the sky, casting long shadows as Sarah and her mother walked down the familiar street. Excitement bubbled beneath Sarah's skin, but it was mixed with an undercurrent of fear. Each step felt like a leap into the unknown. Do you think people will really want to read our letters? Sarah asked, glancing back at her mother, who was deep in thought. Her mother smiled gently. I believe that when you share a piece of your heart, others will feel that warmth. It's all about connection. As they turned a corner, they spotted a small community center that had always served as a gathering space for local events. What if we set up a little booth there? Sarah suggested, her heart racing at the thought. We could invite people to join us, even bring their experiences too. Her mother nodded, her eyes lighting up. That's a brilliant idea. A place for people to come together, even if it's just to write or share their thoughts. They stopped in front of the center, their minds buzzing with possibilities. A large bulletin board out front seemed like the perfect canvas to announce their project. After a short discussion, they agreed, tomorrow, they would post about their letter project, inviting anyone interested to join them in crafting heartfelt messages. But doubt twisted in Sarah's gut. What if no one shows up? Or what if they make fun of us? Her mom reached over, giving Sarah's shoulder a comforting squeeze. Even if it's just one person who benefits, that makes it worthwhile. Remember, every journey starts with a single step. Right. Sarah took a deep breath, nodding. She was determined not to let her fears overshadow their mission. The next morning, they arrived at the community center early, armed with brightly colored paper, pens, and a stack of snacks. Sarah rearranged the table, making everything visually appealing, trying to breathe life into what felt like an unlikely hope. As they set up, Sarah couldn't shake the gnawing worry. What if it all fell flat? But as the hours passed, people began to trickle in. At first, it was just a few curious souls, older folks looking for something to do, teenagers seeking an escape from the monotony of after-school routines. Each new arrival filled Sarah with a sense of warmth. They were all there to share, to connect. A soft-spoken elderly woman approached the table. "What's all this about?" she asked, peering at the colorful paper. Sarah offered a bright smile. "We're starting a letter project. You can write a letter to someone who matters to you or even to a stranger who might need encouragement." The woman tilted her head, her eyes shimmering. "When I was your age, I wrote letters to my friends who moved away. It kept our friendships alive." Gaining confidence, Sarah shared stories of the bus ride and the man's touching tale. The elderly woman nodded, her expression thoughtful. "I would love to participate," she said, settling down to write her own letter. Encouraged by the interaction, more people joined, each pen scratching against paper filled with shared experiences, fears, and hopes. Laughter and soft murmurs filled the space, a tangible sense of community wrapping around them. Sarah stood back, watching the scene unfold, her heart swelling. After a few hours, the letters began to pile up, each one a reflection of the connections being forged. The joy of creating this space was a balm to her worries, showing her that vulnerability could forge unexpected bonds. Then, as the last few letters were being written, a teenage boy with bright blue hair approached, hesitating before speaking up. "Can I write a letter too? Even if it feels stupid?" A hush fell over the table. Sarah stepped forward, her heart racing. It's not stupid. It's brave to share how you feel. That's what this is all about. His cautious smile spread slowly, but it held Faith a flicker of courage. As he sat down, Sarah realized something profound. This project wasn't just about letters, it was about understanding and supporting one another, weaving their stories together. As the day wrapped up, Sarah glanced around at the filled table and smiling faces. Hope surged within her. Perhaps this was just the beginning. As they gathered their things, a thought echoed in her mind: what if they could spread this project even wider? "Mom," she said, her voice steady and filled with excitement. "What if we took this to the schools? We could reach out to everyone and really get things moving." Her mom's eyes sparkled with delight. "Absolutely. Imagine the impact we could have." They both knew they had ignited something special, but would the community be ready for even more? As they walked home, Sarah felt the weight of uncertainty. What else lay ahead? What other connections could be forged as their journey continued? The next morning, Sarah woke up with a flutter of anticipation in her chest. She could barely eat breakfast, her mind racing with ideas about how to reach the schools. After the success of their first day, she felt like she had discovered a hidden power, the ability to connect people through words. "Mom, what's the first step?" Sarah asked over her breakfast plate. She watched her mother, who was scanning the newspaper for local events. The steam from Sarah's mug fogged her glasses as she leaned in closer. Her mother smiled, setting down the paper. "We need to contact the school administrators. We should share our story, explain the project. Let us get them on board." With a wave of determination, Sarah finished her small meal and grabbed her notebook, jotting down ideas and questions she wanted to ask. Her heart raced at the thought of not just bringing their letter project to one school, but maybe the whole district. By mid-morning, they were sitting in the principal's office of Sarah's high school. The walls were adorned with awards and posters celebrating student achievements, but for Sarah, it felt intimidating. She shuffled nervously in her chair while her mother spoke enthusiastically about the project. It was as if her mom's passion was contagious, wrapping around Sarah like a protective shield. The principal listened intently, nodding at the mention of community, connection, and the unexpected beauty of sharing one's soul through letters. As her mother explained how the project had already started influencing people, Sarah felt her nervousness dissipate, replaced by a flicker of hope. "Let us try it out," the principal finally said, a smile forming on his face. "I think our students could benefit tremendously from this. We'll set up a session next week." Sarah almost jumped out of her seat. "Really? That's amazing." The relief and excitement surged through her like electricity. It felt real now, not just a dream. With that momentum, they reached out to other schools in the area. Each time they received an affirmative response, Sarah felt lighter, as if the worry that had settled in her heart was being replaced by a growing sense of purpose. Days turned into a week, and the letters piled up at the community center, drawing more people in. Each weekend, new faces joined the workshops. They were all drawn by the same desire and need to connect, to share. Sarah realized they were building something larger than she had imagined. But not everyone was on board. One afternoon, a group of high school students with folded arms and skeptical expressions wandered into the community center. They eyed the colorful papers scattered across the table, but their faces were hardened by indifference. "What's with the letters? Who even writes anymore?" One of them scoffed, and a wave of unease came over Sarah. Trying to dispel the tension, she stepped forward, her heart racing. "It's not just about writing. It's about sharing feelings and supporting each other. You might be surprised at how many people are looking to connect." The students exchanged glances, their curiosity piqued but still guarded. Sarah could feel the wall between them and her beginning to crack, but would they let it crumble? Days later, amidst the enthusiasm of growing support, Sarah worried about those students. What if they never experienced the power of shared stories? They were still in her mind when the day of the workshop finally arrived. Would they be willing to try it, or would they walk away, leaving behind their fears unspoken? As she set up the room filled with vibrant colors and snacks, a thin veil of uncertainty lay over her excitement. She was determined to reach their hearts, but what if the connection slipped away too quickly? As the students trickled in, Sarah took a deep breath. This was more than a project, it was a chance for healing, for authenticity. And then she saw him, the boy with the blue hair, standing in the doorway, uncertain but hopeful. Will they join us? Sarah thought, a spark of apprehension mingling with hope. In that moment, she felt that perhaps the greatest transformations awaited just beyond the threshold. Would they discover something profound together? The workshop started with moments of hesitation. Sarah stood at the front, her heart thumping loudly in her ears. She looked at the students, who were a mix of curious and doubtful expressions, and wondered if her words could really reach them. The room buzzed with quiet chatter, some nerves whispering beneath their laughter. "Thank you all for coming," she said, her voice wavering slightly. "I'm really excited to share this project with you today." The boy with the blue hair shifted his weight, looking around a colorful room filled with letters and snacks. Sarah could tell he was battling his own fears, just like everyone else. She gestured to the table full of paper and pens, hoping to encourage a connection. "Today is about sharing, about being heard." The murmuring quieted down. She could sense that they were waiting for something more, a catalyst that could spark their interest. "Let me tell you a little bit about why I started this project. It began when I realized that everyone, no matter how different, has stories we're eager to share. Stories that remind us we're not alone." Her voice grew steadier. "When we write letters, we can reveal our thoughts and feelings in a way that's safe. And you never know who might be touched by your words." To her delight, the room began shifting. The girl beside the doorway leaned forward, eyes brightening with interest as she glanced at her friends. Sarah took a breath, encouraged. "Let us start with a small exercise. Think of someone you admire or someone who has made a difference in your life. Write them a letter." She smiled, her enthusiasm spreading through the air like warmth. The blue-haired boy hesitated for a moment, weighing the concept. Then he shuffled toward the table, grabbing a bright piece of paper. It felt like the first ray of sunlight breaking through clouds to Sarah, hope sparked in her chest. As they wrote, pens scratching on paper filled the silence, each letter becoming a bridge between emotions. Sarah moved around, peering over shoulders, offering encouragement. "It doesn't have to be perfect. Just be real." Finally, after what seemed like an eternity but was really only about 30 minutes, Sarah called for everyone's attention again. "If you feel comfortable, I'd love for you to share your letters with the group." The room fell silent, filled with uncertainty. One by one, students stood, trembling or fidgeting, yet made their way into the center of the room. They read aloud their letters, sharing their gratitude, their struggles, their stories, pouring pieces of their hearts onto the floor. The girl, once uncertain, spoke about the teacher who had encouraged her art. The boy echoed his longing for connection when reading a letter to his younger sister, newly moved to town. As the last person shared, Sarah felt the air thrum with something palpable like a shared heartbeat. Their words had intertwined, creating a tapestry that reflected vulnerability and strength. But that thrill of connection dimmed, an undertone of sadness creeping in as the blue-haired boy remained quiet, watching everyone else. "Would you like to read yours, too?" Sarah asked, gently coaxing him. He hesitated, his anxiety evident. I don't think I can. Maybe just the first sentence," she suggested, her voice softening. His blue hair fell over one eye as he shook his head. "I don't want anyone to know what I feel." The room fell still again, and for a heartbeat, it was as if they all held their breath. "We're all here for the same reason," Sarah assured him gently. "No judgment. Just support. You can share what you're comfortable with." The boy's gaze flickered from her to his peers. And in that moment, Sarah realized the power still held in those unspoken words. He began to open up, his voice trembling, revealing his fears and hopes. "This letter is to my brother," he started, "who is not with us anymore." As he spoke, tears spilled down a few faces. The weight of loss hung heavily in the air, but so did the hope that came from sharing. When he finished, a wave of empathy washed over everyone. They weren't just a group of hesitant teens anymore, they were a community grappling with their truths. As the workshop began to wind down, Sarah felt an overwhelming sense of connection flourishing amongst them. It was not just an event, it was the beginning of something extraordinary. A realization dawned on her as she looked around. What if these letters could not only change their lives but also ripple out to others beyond this room? And just when Sarah thought she understood the potential of their mission, a thought struck her hard. What if someone who wrote a letter today, one she never expected, could change everything for someone else tomorrow? She smiled, the possibilities swirling in her mind. It was only just beginning. Would they dare to take that leap together? The sun cast a warm, golden hue over the community center as Sarah and her mother prepared for their biggest workshop yet. Excitement thrummed in the air, a palpable tension that mingled with the smell of hope and connection. This was their moment, the culmination of their journey so far. "Are you ready for today?" her mother asked, fastening a colorful banner that proudly displayed letters of connection above the entrance. Sarah nodded, the flutter in her stomach a mix of nerves and exhilaration. More students from conflicting backgrounds were on their way, drawn by the curiosity of the project blooming throughout the community. Sarah stood at the front of the room, her heart racing. She glanced at her mom, who gave her an encouraging smile. The warmth of that smile calmed her. They would face this together, no matter what. As the students began to filter in, Sarah spotted the blue-haired boy among a group of friends. He caught her eye and gave a shy wave, his earlier confidence flickering like a candle's flame. Sarah felt a spark of encouragement light up inside her. "We're here for each other," she thought. Once everyone settled in, Sarah addressed the group, her voice steady and full of purpose. "Today, we're going to write letters again. But we're also going to connect in a new way." Sarah encouraged everyone to think about a community hero or someone who had shaped their experiences positively. "These letters won't just uplift those we miss, they'll celebrate the impact they've had on our lives." There was tangible intrigue, curiosity danced in the eyes of her peers. The room buzzed with ideas as they began to write, thoughts flowing freely like a delicate stream. Sarah moved among them, gathering letters and offering encouragement. The sound of pens scratching against paper filled the room, a beautiful soundtrack to their shared vulnerability. She saw the blue-haired boy writing fervently, his expression immersed in thought. Each letter transformed into a building block of connection, strengthening the fabric of their community. When the writing session concluded, Sarah gathered everyone around for sharing time. One by one, brave souls stood up to read aloud, their voices echoing across the room. Laughter, tears, and smiles flowed together, weaving a rich tapestry of stories and emotions. "Today is not just about us," Sarah said, looking at her peers. "It's about spreading kindness and understanding. Every letter you write is a lifeline thrown to someone who might need it." And then, from the back, the blue-haired boy rose tentatively. The room went silent as he took a deep breath. I wrote this for my brother. He was the voice of reason for me. When he died, I lost my anchor. But he would have loved to hear how I felt. So here it goes." As his voice rang out, the room held its breath, every teenager enwrapped in the weight of his words. Sarah felt tears pricking at her eyes. He was sharing something so deeply personal, something that could inspire everyone in the room. This was the power of vulnerability, it connected them all. Once he finished, the applause erupted not just from the appreciation of his words but from a recognition of shared pain and growth. With one letter, he had united them all in a profound moment of empathy. A girl stood next, her face glowing. "My mom struggled too, and it's easy to forget how strong she is. I wrote this letter to tell her that I see her the messy parts and the beautiful parts. Laughter bubbled up as the crowd burst into applause again, their spirits lifted. For the next hour, letters were shared, stories exchanged, and self-doubts transformed into shouts of triumph. The community came alive, fueled by genuine connection. Sarah beamed, realizing just how far they had come. In the corner, a small group of previously skeptical students began to write their own letters, tentative yet eager. As they glanced up, their faces softened with the realization of a shared purpose, the healing of vulnerabilities mixing into the fabric of their joy. After the workshop, Sarah and her mother gathered the letters carefully, feeling the warmth of the connections they had ignited. "This is monumental," Sarah whispered, overwhelmed with gratitude. "We've built something that extends beyond us." Her mother nodded, tears glimmering in her eyes. "We've built a bridge between hearts. This is just the beginning." Later that evening, they celebrated in their living room, laughter echoing off the walls filled with memories. Each moment felt like a cocoon of love their family was healing, growing stronger together. After dinner, Sarah turned to her mother. "Let us not stop now. We can share our letters online. Let us open this project to others who are hurting. We can invite them to write with us and share their stories as well." Her mother smiled brightly. "Absolutely. We can create an online community to support people everywhere. We'll transform these heartfelt letters into infinite hugs." They set to work immediately, eager to spread their mission. Days turned into weeks, and Sarah's project ballooned into a movement that fostered connection and shared vulnerabilities, igniting hope in their small town and beyond. As letters poured in, they built a beautiful tapestry woven from the threads of grief, healing, love, and resilience. As Sarah closed her eyes each night, she envisioned the journey stretching ahead. Each letter written would shine a light, revealing shadows in the hearts of many and reminding everyone that they are not alone. These letters would keep connecting souls, their healing would ripple out, sparking understanding and hope in every corner of their community. And as they stepped forward into this new chapter together, Sarah felt a fierce belief blooming in her heart: change was possible, love was endless, and their journey would inspire others for years to come. Now, before you close this chapter, take action. You need to subscribe now to the channel, so you don't miss the next exclusive stories that are waiting for you. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help us reach those who need to hear these stories. Comment your reactions and feelings about this emotional ending, we want to hear your stories. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second to share this journey of healing. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions. Let's spread the love.